to the Metro on WDET. I'm Robin Vincent. The Michigan Global Talent Initiative wants 60% of the state's workforce to get a post-secondary education or professional certificate by 2030. The local nonprofit Global Detroit wants to help the state of Michigan to do that. The organization's executive director, Steve Tabachman, told WDET's Nargis Rahman that the state has already added about 55,000 new college-educated foreign-born people to the job market in the last several years. Tabachman began this conversation speaking about why it's important that Michigan continues to bring in more immigrants and why it's vital to help them further their education while here.
Since 2019, the state has added nearly 55,000 new college-educated foreign-born individuals, meaning immigrants. And what that means is that the shortage of workers that we've experienced, particularly around high-skilled STEM areas of the economy, engineers, software developers that have been going unfilled, that we'll have a better shot at filling those positions, which enable us to retain companies in the electric vehicle sector, the automotive sector, and other growing areas of the economy. And so it really is a good sign for all Michiganders about Michigan companies succeeding and Michigan being a place that can sustain a high standard of living, high wages, and employment for Michiganders.
And can you just also explain what is the 60 by 30 goals?
So Governor Whitmer, when she came into office after Fix the Dam Roads, in her first State of the State address in 2019, laid out an ambitious talent and workforce development plan so that 60% of Michigan's workforce would have a post-secondary degree, meaning an associate's degree or college degree or graduate degree, or a professional credential, such as like a licensed plumber or licensed welder or a certified nurse technician or something like that. So the idea was that if 60% of our workforce had a post-secondary degree or education, that would enable Michiganders to achieve a higher standard of living. It would enable our company to be more competitive and succeed. It would enable Michigan to attract and retain good-paying jobs all across the state. Michigan became the 41st state in the country to adopt this framework of a post-secondary degree initiative. So the most well-known at Tennessee's, which is 55 by 25. So we're the 41st state to develop this strategy, but we are the first state to also develop a comprehensive immigrant inclusion strategy to help us reach these goals. What we released in terms of the census number was that if we had done nothing, had no strategy around immigrant talent, we probably would have added 65,000 college-educated immigrant workers to the workforce by 2030, which would roughly meant about 12% of the overall goal. We created an ambitious plan with business and state government and local chambers of commerce to almost double that and raise the number of high-skilled immigrants joining the Michigan economy to 120 to 125,000 by the year 2030. And the Michigan Global Talent Initiative is the initiative to implement those programs. There are 7 core programs in the initiative, and we've gotten 2 appropriations, 2 annual appropriations. And what we found in the 2024 census is that we've added roughly 55,000 more college-educated immigrants in the first 5 years.
Can you also talk about why is it important to focus on the immigrant workforce in Michigan in terms of growing the job market here?
Yeah, this is part of an overall strategy to attract and retain talent and upskill Michigan's workforce to be competitive and be a workforce of the 21st century. So immigrants play a disproportionate role in population growth. And in fact, in Michigan, all of the population growth since 2020, or even looking back all the way to 2000, all of the net population growth in Michigan come through immigration. So it's important that we look to the future, that we look at what is the future workforce we need, what is the future what are the future income earning families that are going to sustain communities. What does Michigan look like in the year 2030? And immigration is bound to play an important role. As I said, it's not only all the net population growth we've seen in Michigan, between the 23 and 24 census was the first time in a long time, immigration was all of the net population growth in the United States. So Michigan is no different than other Midwestern states and Northeastern states that are seeing low birth rates, that are having a difficult time attracting and retaining young talent, and that immigration plays a disproportionate role in creating the workers with the skills that we need to succeed in the future. And this strategy at the Michigan Global Talent Initiative is at the cutting edge of making our state leverage the contributions that immigrants bring to our state and our communities in ways that will grow the economy and create opportunities for Michiganders all across our state.
Can you also speak about some of the initiatives in terms of what are some of the things that are being done to help support immigrant communities to get the secondary education to be a part of the job market?
First of all, there are 7 initiatives in the Michigan Global Talent Initiative. They include the country's largest international student retention program. Michigan has over 38,000 international students studying at our colleges and universities, and they predominate the most advanced STEM fields. So roughly 70% of all the graduate students in electrical engineering, computer science, and software development, critical field for the design of electric vehicles and the future of our auto industry, are international students. And so we have the largest program in the country to retain these students after graduation. Most of that work is focusing on employers and helping them understand that under existing laws, these students can work for 3 full years under their student visa without the employer even needing to file a visa or retain an attorney to help. But longer term employment does require some form of sponsorship. A second initiative in our suite of programs under the Michigan Global Talent Initiative is our Skilled Immigrant Integration Program. And so we are funding job coaches all across the state at Michigan Works Agency offices to help college-educated immigrants or refugees who come with college degrees or professional backgrounds and help them find jobs that utilize their skills. This is directly targeted at those engineers or pharmacists who are driving an Uber or working at a restaurant. And we're helping to employ those workers in engineering or pharmacy or their field at which they have been prepared through specific job coaching, software programs, and other supports. What we have seen in that program is that the average participant sees a salary increase of $45,000 because they are working at menial jobs. They're qualified for pretty important talent need that we have in the economy. And a third initiative is our startup program. And the Global Entrepreneur in Residence program is working with Michigan Tech University, Grand Valley State University, Lawrence Tech, College for Creative Studies. And we have put startup founders who need support in launching their companies in Michigan and pursuing the American dream. To date, we have supported 13 startups, and those startups have raised $30 million in venture capital and created nearly 200 jobs. And so this is creating a pathway for immigrant-founded startups to launch in Michigan. We also are supporting the country's first investment in community colleges to support strategies that will help immigrants, refugees, and first-generation Michigander students. So right now in Michigan, 15% of all the high school students in the state come from an immigrant family, meaning one or both parents are immigrants, or even that the student themselves is an immigrant. In our 6th most populous county, the numbers are over 20%.
What is the Michigan Global Talent Initiative doing next in terms of hoping to complete this goal of 60 by 30?
We are 55,000 strong towards our 125,000 goal of college-educated immigrants. We're trying to add to the Michigan economy to fill critical talent needs. And we have created the Michigan Global Talent Initiative as a 5-year investment. We've received 2 appropriations. So right now, we're seeking our 3rd appropriation. We put money in colleges all across the state and community colleges all across the state, and Michigan Works agencies all across the state, from the Upper Peninsula to Grand Rapids to Muskegon to Flint and everywhere in between. So this is a program that works not just in Southeast Michigan, but all across the state of Michigan. And it's our hope to continue these programs. There are programs that we've really learned in the first year or two do some things well and other things not as well. And so we've adjusted some of those program learnings to make it more productive in the years to come. And there are other programs where really in the first 2 years, we've really been research and planning, and we're hoping to launch those initiatives in the coming years with additional funding. The Michigan Global Talent Initiative is the premier immigrant inclusive workforce development initiative in the country. This was featured at the White House Task Force on New Americans first convening as a best practice. And as I said, we've done some amazing things. It's the country's largest international student retention program. It is the first program to put grants into community colleges to serve the growing sector of our population. It is, at the time, was the largest state-funded global entrepreneur in residence program in the country. And in fact, Michigan's investment in the global EIR program has sparked copycats now in the state of California, the state of Washington, the state of Massachusetts, New York, and New Jersey. Those 5 states have all copied our lead in putting money into global EIR programs, although right now our state is the second largest state in supporting these kinds of immigrant-funded high-tech startups. We are about to be a leader in the Attraction Initiative. We're working with the UCAN in Michigan program to make sure that international student talent, particularly in critical fields like electrical engineering and software development, are part of the UCAN in Michigan outreach, and to bring those graduates from other states into Michigan and connect with critical job needs. While the nation is having its own debates about border security and the right frame of immigration, this kind of talent initiative is one that has received bipartisan support. That's the first appropriations happened under the Republican legislature. Many of the programs that are in the Michigan Global Talent Initiative were started under Governor Snyder's administration. And there's a broad coalition, Michigan Global Talent Coalition, consisting of 25 chambers of commerce, economic development organizations, and business groups from every corner of the state that has conceived of and supported the Michigan Global Talent Initiatives. So this is a business-led, business-run, economic development-focused talent program. It is critical to Michigan's future when we see that over a quarter of the talent that we need, high-skilled talent that we need in Michigan to succeed, is going to come through immigration. It's important that we invest in making sure that we can succeed in that area as well as many others.
That was Steve Tabachman, Executive Director at Global Detroit. He spoke with WDET's Nargis Rahman about a new initiative that's trying to get 60% of the state's workforce to get a post-secondary education or professional certificate by 2030. From the WDET newsroom, the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services says nearly a third of the state's Medicaid beneficiaries could lose coverage amid potential federal budget cuts. Lawmakers are negotiating which programs to cut to pay for tax breaks for the wealthy. The health department's report assumes they will target Medicaid despite Republican promises to protect the program. The report says a GOP tax overhaul could cost hospitals and nursing homes more than $2.5 billion. Detroit City Council member Gabriela Santiago Romero says she is certified to appear on the August primary ballot. The city elections department disqualified her over a late fee it said she failed to pay. Santiago Romero contested the penalty, saying she did pay it and that her disqualification was due to a clerical error. A Wayne County Circuit Court judge ordered the city clerk's office to put her name on the ballot. Enforcement of the Real ID Act begins today. Travelers will need to make sure they're carrying an acceptable form of identification when flying. The act passed in 2005, and it's taken states a while to get into compliance. A TSA spokesperson says the law ensures that every state meets the same standards when proving identity. They say those planning to fly without a real ID should give themselves extra time as they could experience extra screening. Acceptable forms of ID include driver's licenses with a gold star and passports. Coming up, what should be the priorities of Detroit's next mayor? One local think tank believes they have the answer. Stay with us here on the Metro. We'll be right back.